Most people chase freedom like it's hiding in a bank account. But Marcus Aurelius understood, real freedom is inner peace. Not more attention, not more control, but less need to be needed. If you're still watching, that means you're tired of running the show too. You want peace, not pressure. So here's the hard truth. You don't scale by doing more. You scale by building what works without you. And no, this isn't hype. This is a Stoic framework forged through mistakes, quiet systems, and walking away on purpose. Let's talk about detachment, architecture, and the discipline to disappear. Because the business that runs without you is the business that finally frees you. Most business owners aren't building freedom. They're building beautifully disguised prisons, made of notifications, expectations, and quiet burnout. Every email you answer, every task only you can do, every weekend you whisper, "I just need to catch up." That's not scaling, that's surviving. And if you're still watching, maybe you're one of the few who actually feels it. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire through chaos. He didn't control the storms around him, but he mastered the one system the world couldn't break, his mind. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Today, your battlefield isn't a kingdom, it's your calendar, your inbox, your to-do list that never ends. We chase growth by adding more hours, more offers, more pressure. But the truth? You don't escape chaos by doing more. You escape it by designing better. Because at some point, being the smartest person in your business becomes your biggest bottleneck. If success depends on you always being present, you're not free, you're just well paid and quietly trapped. Still here? Then you're not chasing hype, you're chasing clarity. And clarity begins with one decision. Stop building around yourself. Start building beyond yourself. And here's the harsh truth most don't want to hear. If you disappeared for 30 days, would your business crumble or continue? If your answer scared you, good. That fear? That's where your freedom begins. Because systems aren't cold, they're compassionate. They give you the power to protect your peace without disappearing your profit. And if you're thinking, but no one can do it like me, that's not leadership, that's ego with a time limit. The Stoics believed in preparing for winter during summer, in building now for the storms that always come. So the real question is, are you building something that depends on your greatness or something that transcends it? Because here's the truth no one likes admitting. If your business breaks when you rest, then it was never really a business. It was a performance, a well-disguised dependency on you. And if you're still here, that already means something. It means you think long-term. It means you're ready for the harder question. What if peace is the real proof of power? We've glorified grind for too long. But Marcus didn't write about burnout. He wrote about balance, about building an inner citadel that couldn't be shaken by outer chaos. That's what systems give you. Not laziness, leverage. Not escape, elevation. So let me ask you again. If you step back for a month, would your business fall or finally prove it was built right? That's the next layer. And now we go deeper. I didn't level up. I broke down. Burnout isn't just tiredness. It's watching the thing you once loved quietly suffocate you while everyone else claps. I had the clients. I had the calendar filled. I had what people online would call momentum. But inside, I was exhausted and angry at myself for not being more grateful. If you're still watching, maybe you've been there, or you're there right now, smiling through exhaustion, scaling something that feels more like survival than success. Seneca said it best. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. And I was wasting it, not on distractions, but on the illusion that being needed made me valuable, that being busy meant I was doing something right. But here's what shifted everything for me. I didn't need to do more. I needed to matter less. Not to people, but to my business. So I stepped back, I rebuilt, slowly, quietly, intentionally. I started designing systems that didn't revolve around my energy. I learned to delegate, automate, and most of all, trust. Not trust the market, not trust the team, trust the process of letting go. If any part of that hits home, let it. You're not falling behind, you're being called inward. Because true freedom isn't doing what you want. It's not having to do anything at all for the machine to still move. This is the Business Vault. Please hit the like button and subscribe because I am not here to sell shortcuts, but share what helped me breathe again. If that's something you're building toward, keep going, because silence isn't weakness, it's power finally rested. But I'll be honest with you, letting go wasn't graceful at first. It was guilt. It was overthinking. It was checking my phone 12 times a day to see if things were falling apart without me. Maybe you felt it too, that tug between control and peace, between micromanaging and trusting the machine you built. If you're still here, you're not just interested in growth, you're hungry for depth, for real freedom, the kind that can't be faked on a highlight reel. And that starts with one hard truth. You are not your output. I had to unlearn the addiction to being busy. I had to stop measuring my worth by how exhausted I was. Because if your business only works when you're overworked, that's not freedom. That's just a prettier cage. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." So I revoked it, not in a single moment, but day by day, decision by decision. I reclaimed my calendar. I respected my focus. I chose peace, not as an escape, but as a system design. And now, my business runs without me. Not because I disappeared, but because I finally showed up as a builder, not a bottleneck. Marcus Aurelius knew this inner conflict. He wrote, "Ambition means tying your well-being to what other people say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions." That's the sanity I had to fight for. And in that silence, I found something louder than success. Peace that didn't require performance. If this vision resonates, you're already one of us. This is the Business Vault, and we don't build to escape, we build to endure. Quietly, boldly, completely. And just so you know, in here, your value isn't tied to hustle. It's tied to what you've built in stillness. If your business doesn't have systems, then you are the system. And if you're the system, you're also the burnout plan. Still here? That already tells me something. You're not just hustling for freedom. You're thinking long-term. You don't scale by working harder. You scale by building processes that work without you. The kind that run on clarity, not chaos. Marcus Aurelius said, "First tell yourself what you want to be, then do what you have to do." And what you have to do is remove yourself as the bottleneck. I used to think staying busy meant staying successful. I wore always needed like a badge, but I didn't realize being essential and being irreplaceable aren't the same. One is leadership, the other is captivity. If you're still watching, you're not chasing vanity, you're chasing vision. So here's the quiet truth. Systems aren't cold, they're compassionate, because a business that runs without you gives you back your peace, your time, and your mind. Systems protect the builder from becoming the burden. And that's not just strategy, that's Stoic architecture. If that resonates, keep building. Quietly, intentionally. Here at the Business Vault, we don't just build businesses, we build legacies that outlive our presence. Still here? That already tells me something. You're not just hustling for freedom, you're thinking long-term clarity over short-term chaos. You don't scale by working harder, you scale by building processes that move without you, that operate even when you're resting, that make your absence feel like design, not disaster. Marcus Aurelius once said, "First tell yourself what you want to be, then do what you have to do." What you have to do is get out of the way, without stepping away. You build better not when you're holding everything, but when you've taught the structure to hold itself. I used to think staying busy meant I was important. I equated exhaustion with excellence, but I was wrong. I wasn't leading, I was leaking. Energy, time, clarity, all draining into tasks I should have delegated. Because being essential and being irreplaceable aren't the same. One creates leaders, the other creates limits. Still with me? Then you already know this isn't about stepping back. It's about stepping up and setting your vision free. The truth is, systems aren't soulless. They're self-respect in motion. They don't replace your presence. They honor your mind. A well-built system says, I trust this enough to release control, and I built it to last. Because a business that depends on your constant input isn't freedom, it's a disguised cage. But one that breathes without you, that's Stoic architecture. Structure, discipline, clarity, all working silently in your favor. If that speaks to you, don't just build craft with intention, lead with clarity, and move in silence. At the Business Vault, we're not just chasing revenue, we're designing systems that outlast emotion, distraction, and noise. Because your real power isn't in what you do, it's in what continues without you. Your business is a body, and every system inside it has a purpose or a problem. Marketing brings in the oxygen, attention, visibility, breath. Sales circulates it, delivering energy to the right places. Operations metabolizes it, breaking it down into results. Finance protects the bloodstream, filtering risk, storing strength, keeping you alive. If any of these organs fail, you don't push harder. You diagnose, you treat, you rebuild. Still watching? That tells me you're not here to hustle blindly. You're here to breathe smarter and scale consciously. Because too many entrepreneurs collapse from internal chaos, not because they weren't working hard, but because they didn't know what was failing or why. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Same thing in business. Don't just study systems, live by them. Run your business like you'd run your health. Prevent before you panic. Measure before you assume. Strengthen before you scale. If you're still here, you're not just looking for more revenue, you're building resilience. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you how that resilience becomes real autonomy, the kind that doesn't depend on you. Let's keep going, because peace starts with process. And the beauty of it? When each organ runs on its own rhythm, you become the observer, not the operator. You stop chasing every fire, because now the system knows how to self-correct. That's not cold, that's leadership, the quiet kind. Still here? Then you're not just a builder, you're becoming a steward. You're choosing alignment over adrenaline. And that's when business becomes a vehicle for life, not a replacement for it. So ask yourself, which organ is under pressure? Which one is overcompensating? Because the longer you wait to fix it, the harder it becomes to breathe. But the moment you face it with clarity, your business exhales. Let's move forward. The next part is where autonomy becomes real. List every task, then assign it to a system, a person, or a process. And if it doesn't fit, it probably doesn't belong. Because chaos isn't just noise, it's unassigned responsibility. If you're still watching, you're not just building for speed, you're building for clarity. Here's the quiet truth. Every problem in your business is rooted in something unsorted, and clarity doesn't arrive, it's created. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That friction you feel, it's the blueprint in disguise. The tasks you keep repeating, they're the systems asking to be born. You're not behind, you're finally seeing the road clearly. And that's not a setback, that's alignment. So look again at your business. Every moving part should live somewhere, and every system should reduce your stress, not add to it. Because what's not organized will always end up on you. Still here? That means you're not just chasing results, you're chasing structure, the kind that frees you. And if that lands with you, keep watching. Because in the next few minutes, you'll learn how to use that structure to unlock a freedom most only dream of. Peace isn't found in the absence of tasks, it's found in the presence of order. Let's build that order. If everyone owns the task, no one really does. That's how businesses bleed, not from laziness, but from vague responsibility. Still with me? Then you already think deeper than most, because most leaders confuse delegation with diffusion. Autonomy doesn't come from freedom, it comes from clarity. Who owns what? What's expected, and what happens if they drop the ball? Marcus Aurelius said it clean. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Same applies here. Stop debating who's in charge. Make it clear. Because when no one owns it, accountability dies and culture collapses. But when someone owns a task, they rise. They bring pride to the role, and the system becomes self-sustaining. Ownership is about trust, not control. You don't build powerful teams by hovering. You build them by giving responsibility with real consequences. If you're still watching, you're probably not just building a business. You're building something that lasts, with structure, discipline, and clarity. And that begins with one rule. Everyone has a role. Everyone owns the result. Keep watching, because what's next is the heart of sustainable scale. I used to equate value with being involved. Always showing up, always in control. I thought if I wasn't in it, I wasn't valuable. But I was wrong. Value isn't presence, value is clarity. Clarity that outlives your presence. If you're still here, you're not just chasing growth, you're ready to redefine it. Peaceful growth is possible, but only if you stop chasing and start structuring. Because a business built on chaos collapses quietly. A business built on stillness, it scales without noise. Marcus Aurelius understood this. To love only what happens, what was destined, no greater harmony. That's not passive, that's power. The power to accept, to design, to lead from calm, not reaction. Stillness isn't weakness, it's not even a pause, it's the pivot point, the place where movement becomes direction. Because when you stop reacting, you start realigning. And when you realign, you don't just build faster, you build forever. If that hits deeper than just strategy, that's not by accident. That's awareness rising. It means you're done building for approval and ready to build for alignment. It means you're no longer seeking permission. You're accepting responsibility. Responsibility to simplify, to slow down, not because you're lazy, but because you're finally clear on the cost of chaos. Still here? Then this is your stillness shift. This is your chance to stop chasing more and start becoming more. Because the goal isn't to always be involved, the goal is to build so clearly that your business moves even when you don't. That's not retirement, that's resilience. And that's the kind of peace you don't have to announce. It announces you. And the people around you, they'll feel it. Not because you're louder, but because you've become unshakable. If you're still watching, you've probably tasted what burnout feels like. The anxiety that creeps in when you're away from your phone, the guilt that shows up when you try to rest. But hear me clearly, stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what matters on purpose. And that's what most people miss. We're taught to hustle, to move faster, to always be available. But what if the real flex isn't always being on, it's being free, and still, everything moves? That's the shift. You stop building for validation. You start building for vision. You stop micromanaging every outcome and start designing systems that don't need saving. Marcus didn't chase more. He mastered less. He didn't lead by noise. He led by presence and preparation. And now you're here, not because you want to escape responsibility, but because you want to take it back on your own terms. So take this moment in, not just as motivation, but as clarity. The truth is, growth isn't louder at the top, it's quieter. The chaos fades, the systems work, and peace, the real kind, finally arrives. And that's when you realize you don't need the world to see your grind. You just need a vision that doesn't shake when they aren't looking. Because that's when the business no longer needs you, but the mission still carries your name. Because success isn't about being everywhere. It's about building something that thrives when you're nowhere. If you've been waiting for a sign where someone says, yes, it's hard, yes, it matters, and no, you're not crazy for doing it differently, this is it. This entire message, it's not content, it's permission. Not to chase applause, but to choose alignment. Turn the chaos into clarity. Turn silence into a signal. Turn your burden into a blueprint. The obstacle? It's not in the way. It is the way. Marcus already taught us that. Now it's your move. If something in this stirred you, don't just scroll, take aligned action. Step 1, watch the next video, Turning Obstacles into Opportunity, the Stoic Business Reframe. If this one laid your foundation, that one lights your fire. Step 2, subscribe to the Business Vault, where ambition meets ancient wisdom. I drop tools for Stoic business leadership, Quiet power in the digital age, purpose, presence, and systems that scale. Step 3. Share this with one builder who's on the edge of burnout. They don't need hype, they need perspective. They need this. Last step, like this video, then drop a comment below, even just a sentence. Here's one system I'm building this week, because your voice makes this message travel. This isn't about growth that screams, it's about building what lasts, quietly, completely, and on purpose. Welcome to the Business Vault, where we don't chase applause, we chase alignment, and we build legacies that don't need to shout because they speak for themselves.